Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
the podcast.
Hi.
Hey, guess what we just did?
Oh my God. I can't even believe it. Like, it's not real.
No.
It's not
So
real.
we did not record all about Lucy Coe.
Because we had something a little more exciting to do.
As we've mentioned before, we've been emailing back and forth with somebody since May.
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, it's been over 2 months.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been crazy. We just got done talking to Bradford Anderson.
Oh my God. I seriously, I still can't believe it. It's insane.
No, neither can I. So
it's out of body experience.
I mean, we talked for about a half hour, so we decided to push Lucy back.
Yes. Hope you guys don't mind. But
Yeah.
obviously talking to Bradford was a little bit more exciting.
Just a tad. But so we just wanted to share our conversation with you, and we'll be back afterwards to talk a little bit more.
First of all, love your hat. I have family from all over Boston. So.
Oh yeah, whereabouts?
Yeah. My mom graduated from Winthrop High School, and
okay, awesome.
Actually, I have an aunt right now that lives in. She just moved to New Hampshire.
Oh, great, even better.
Yes, and I know that's where he's from.
Yes,
and
I know
she knows too.
Oh, nice.
Manchester, I think, is where she's from. But then she used to live in Haverhill.
Okay.
So. And we would do like the 20-minute drive down the street just to go to the beach to watch the fireworks and everything. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Fantastic.
But, yeah, I love it up there. So.
Yeah.
Amanda's never been to Boston. I'm trying to get her to go. So
it's a good place to visit, Freedom Trail and all that,
Yep.
And the bars.
That too, but there's a lot of history. I mean, there's a whole beer for Sam Adams and everything from there. So
that's right. Well, and yeah, that was like kind of like the only craft beer for a while, and now, but craft beer is everywhere. But yeah. So, yeah. Well, Pittsburgh's a good drinking city, though.
We drink for everything.
That's right.
It's
I really appreciate that.
Did you get a chance to try the wine?
Yes. So I'm pretty spoiled here in California with great wine, right? And so
Pennsylvania's not.
Well, I didn't realize we were right by this mall, and because the club that we played was in this complex of sorts.
Yep.
And Steve said, "Hey, there's a wine store here." I was like, "Great!" And I said, "What's it called?" He said, "The Pennsylvania Wine Store." I was like, "Oh, amazing!" So I go by it, thinking like, I'm from New Hampshire. All liquor stores are state liquor stores, so it's the New Hampshire liquor store. So when it said Pennsylvania Wine Store, it didn't occur to me that every wine in the shop would be Pennsylvania wine.
Okay.
Because so anyway, so I went in there, and I like anything that you can drink, really.
Mm-hmm.
But my palate's not used to fruit besides grape. So it's a lot of, and their most popular or highest rated was blackberry wine, and I was like, oh, okay. But it was really good. It's not something I would probably drink on a regular basis because it's just too sweet. But our buddy Jeremy, who we travel with, likes everything sweet. Yeah, he drinks ciders, and he drinks, he's like, if we're drinking wine, I've taught him about Moscato, and so he was all over it, which is great. So when I brought a bottle back to our hotel room specifically for Jeremy, but Steve tried it too, and he liked it as well. So that's good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
See, I like dark and dry.
Well done, Pennsylvania, and your blackberry and huckleberry and any other berries.
What can we say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we just wanted to, thank you so much for doing this and everything.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Congrats on getting a podcast up and running. I know, believe me, I know it takes some doing.
Yeah. So why did you guys decide to start doing your podcast?
Well,
and everything.
Yeah. So when Steve, back in the day when Steve and I were working together so much in the late 2000s and, early teens, we were traveling all the time. We were doing great things and really fun things. And, a few years into touring, Steve said, "Hey, let's make it more of a show." That's where the band came from. Right. We were doing all these appearances. It felt like we were trying to do a show, just we didn't ever plan anything. And then Steve said, you know what, let's do something more. So that's where the band came from. And we really enjoyed that. And then when Steve left to go to Y&R, everything just kind of dissipated. And so when he decided he was coming back, he called me and he's like, hey man, I'd love to start traveling with you again, but let's see if we can really do something that's fun for us, that's fun for the viewers, that's fun for the fans, and create. Let's become a duo. Let's figure out what we can do. And so the first part of that was traveling again, and not just doing, I think anyone that's seen our show like you guys have, when people go to a soap event, they think it's going to be two stools and two people that are just kind of waiting for the audience to ask questions. And we never, that was never interesting to us. Mm-hmm. We know people want to ask us questions. We're happy to do that, but we want everybody in the room to know that we are as excited to see them as they are hopefully to see us. And not only that, we want them to know that we thought about this, that we came prepared with something to hopefully give them. Like, we want to provide a service. We want to provide entertainment. We want to provide. So that's what when we came back, that's what the band was all about. But with the band, we realized that people wanted a little more interaction, and that was hard to do with a band setting. So when we were kind of thinking about what we wanted to do in the new kind of tour that we've come up with, is to make a show more, to make more of a show, but also leave room for interaction, for improv, for interplay with the crowd and each other. So to try to, integrate that more so make it a show, but also make it more interactive. And so that's what we've tried to do. And then as that started to work and we were enjoying that process, we saw a kind of, with the podcast revolution of sorts, we figured in our little corner of media, nobody else was doing one. And we thought we had the ability to do something fun. We thought it would be fun for us. And we thought, people might be interested in it. And so we just kind of said, we always thought a podcast would be part of what we set out to do. And it took us a while. We didn't reach out to anybody to do it for us. We wanted to figure out a way to do it ourselves. I'm sure you guys know if you don't set a deadline for yourself, it's like, oh, we're going to do a podcast. We're going to do a podcast. We're going to do a podcast. And then, right. And then
that was us for 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. And then finally you just got to pull the trigger, and whether that means ordering your equipment on Amazon or whatever, but I mean, that's the first step or whatever, but then it's using the equipment. Right. And when we started out, we rented a studio space because we thought, well, let's just try to do this great. But it was so expensive per episode that we're like, this is not viable. And so that's when I researched and got all the equipment and bought the wrong equipment at first, and found out I got us like an in studio. Like, we always knew we'd probably either record in Steve's dressing room or something. So I got us so much equipment for that. And then I got us this little sound recorder to take on the road. But I had this huge soundboard in Steve's room that I was using. Then after researching, I realized, all we need is this little sound recorder, which is so much simpler than this huge board that I got. So anyway, so we refined our recording, and we found a good system now. And because there was a couple times early on where we were using the soundboard and I was recording directly to my computer. And then if my computer crashed, it was gone. Yeah. And that happened with Maurice Bernard's first interview. And that was horrible.
It's a learning moment.
It sure is. It sure is. Yeah. I wouldn't wish it on anybody else. But we talked about it for like 2 years. We would just text each other about the show, and we think we're funny, Sure. Well, that's a start.
We have great insight, but what? It was the name that was catching us. It's like, what do we call it?
Right.
I was at the gym and I was just like, Pier 54, that's where they have all the conversations.
Totally. Makes absolute sense. It's a good choice.
And it was in the beginning of March.
Yeah, you didn't give much notice. You were like, we need to start April 1st.
Well, but because that's the anniversary of when the show started. So I was like, what better opportunity would it be than April 1st was a Monday, and that's when General Hospital started. So
perfect.
Right. It was decided like over a weekend. We're meeting and we're going to do it.
Yep.
You just got to jump in. Well, good job. Good job, you.
Hey, thanks. If you weren't doing all of this stuff that you do, what do you see your life like? What would you have done instead of being an actor?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah. And instead of being an actor, that. I mean, that decision was made so long ago. Yeah, I truly don't know. And when I was a kid, I thought my dad was a financial advisor, so I thought that's something I'd want to do, but I just don't have the attention span for all the math. And I just like, it's not that I'm bad at math. It's hard for me to, yeah. So I don't know. When I made the decision kind of as a sophomore in high school to get into performing arts. So the only other ideas I had were as a younger person thinking I was going to be a professional athlete, and that certainly wouldn't have gone anywhere. So,
Okay.
yeah. So it's hard. It's hard to say. The great thing about going to drama school, exploring that part of yourself is that it makes you a pretty good people person. And so, a lot of actors find transitions into other fields of work and they find success at it simply because they know how to talk to people and they know how to listen. And not everybody is good at that. So, I'd like to think that something would have come along, but, and hey, I may yet have to find that. That's also part of this thing that we're doing. When I left the show, I didn't have a bad time out in the rest of the world, but it wasn't as successful as I had hoped. And right as I left was around the time that everyone started talking like, oh, well, you have to make your own work now. And the TV was changing, and even guest stars on shows are being offered out. There's not as many auditions. And, even though there's streaming stuff, there's not as many opportunities for people that are lower on the list. And I just never saw myself creating, because as an actor in New York, when you're doing theater, when you're out of work as a theater actor, you don't just say to yourself, oh, okay, I'll write a musical. There's people that are better than that went to school for that do that. I wouldn't ever deign to think that I could. But in LA, everyone says, oh, well, make a movie on your phone, do this. And I didn't, I don't write. So I didn't go to school for writing, all that stuff, all those reasons why I can't, because I went to school for this. This is what I do. This is my lane.
Right.
And that's changing. And so one of the things that's been really cool for me in the last year and a half is that just starting these new ventures, if you will, has kind of caused a change in my brain. Because even when you're buying your podcast equipment, when you're thinking of your name, when you're figuring things out, you are problem solving and creating, coming up with new ideas. That's what it is. It's problem solving. It's just creative thought. And once my brain started working that way, I found that, okay, a blank page doesn't scare me anymore either. So it's not that I'm writing scripts, but when he and I are on the road, every time we go to a city, we try to give a show that city's never seen before. So like, for example, when I saw you guys, we'd played Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was one of our very first shows the fall before. Yep. And so
Amanda missed it because she was at a Steelers game.
That's a pretty good.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, she was babysitting for somebody who was at a Steelers game.
Oh, okay.
I came by myself.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Okay. Well, so
it's the first time I ever went to like an event by myself.
Yeah.
And my husband was like, go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we first thought of doing this, and Steve was like, let's do a show. I was like, okay, what can I do? And so I came up with this whole opening that started with like a dance sequence into this song. And
including him?
No, just me. I know.
Okay, because I'm like, I don't see that.
You don't remember? Well, so that first show in Pittsburgh, I came out in like a Patient 6 mask and like tried to do, but that club was in transition at that point, and the sound guy was just hadn't figured out how to do stuff yet. And so my track cut out like 3 or 4 times, and I got so angry. I'm not an angry person by nature, but when you're in front of 300 people and you're at the mercy of some tech and the tech doesn't work and it's as simple as playing a song, that got to me. So I remember that first show in Pittsburgh, I didn't come out of it feeling very good. So thankfully, when we were able to go back this time, the club was redesigned. It was beautiful.
Renovated.
Beautiful. Yeah. Everything worked great. Because the audience, if you said you were in that audience way back. Yeah. Okay. You guys were great, but we didn't think you guys were having that great a time. Like it was very subdued. It was.
Oh my gosh, I was crying. I was laughing so hard. I was texting her like, "This is fantastic."
Oh,
I
good.
Come back.
Yeah. So there was something about the row. The rows were really far apart. Like it didn't feel like the whole room was with us the whole show. So we were like, gosh, that we don't think it went badly, but gosh, that didn't go like we hoped. Mm-hmm. So it was really gratifying to come back this last time and still have a bunch of people show up for us. And boy, we had a blast this time. We had an absolute blast. We love that club. And I've taken out some of the variables in my part of the act so that I'm never subject to something going wrong and me just being pissed.
Oh, I didn't know that anything went wrong.
Good.
After you came out with like the mask and everything, I guess if you heard a glitch, we would have thought that it was.
Yeah, well, because I went from that dance thing, and then the whole idea was so convoluted. It was like, I'm going to tell the story of Jason through movement, and then at the end of the dance, I'll take off the mask and then put the mask on a stool and then sing a song to the mask. So then I'm me. I transition into me or Spinelli or whatever, singing a song to Jason Steve, and then in that song, which was your song by Elton John.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite songs. I was so excited.
The music cut out in the middle of that too. So I think I just sang through it. I ended up singing a cappella because I wasn't waiting for the track anymore.
Yeah.
And anyway, just little things like that where hopefully the audience, if they did have a second of like, well, that's weird. Oh, whatever. Hopefully. So, but anyway, yeah. So a little behind the curtain there. Yeah.
I think that you're so interactive and everything. I think that it's really easy to overlook things like that,
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Do you prefer film or TV or theater?
Or I guess this.
Yeah, right. That's true.
At this point, I'm so ready to do stage again. And I think, the stuff that Steve and I have been doing, being in front of an audience, like that has kind of brought that desire back. In my career, my representation, I've always been, steered to think that, I just want to do for lack of a better word, better TV and movies, in theory, climb up the ladder in the film and TV world. And honestly, that work, in order to be on the level to do the kind of work that is really satisfying, that not everybody gets the opportunity to do that, right? Like you do a guest star on a procedural, you're like the second person in the interview room that may have done it, but then since you're second in the interview room, people know you didn't do it, and it's not. I did an episode of Castle, I did NCIS, and it's fun to be on set with all that stuff. But the work isn't necessarily super fulfilling, right? It's awesome being on those sets. It's so cool. But, it's one day of work and it's like, okay. But to be able to do the really high level stuff, that's, that not everybody gets to do that. So doing a play again, doing musicals again, that would be great. But the problem with that is lifestyle wise, it's really challenging.
Yeah.
Where I live now, I moved up to Northern California with my family. So to go away for, Steve and I go away for a week, we do our thing and that's great. And, but to go away for months at a time, to not make a lot of money either, frankly, when you're doing theater, you're not making a lot of money unless you're working in New York, and then you got to live in New York for maybe a year. If you get a Broadway show, which is awesome, you make some good money, but then you're in New York for a year, and that would create some interesting choices for my family and me. And so, so it's, what we're doing now is really cool. And we're getting the opportunity people are asking for more from us. And what I mean by that is, people in the industry are kind of sniffing around going, oh, what is it you guys are doing? And maybe some unscripted things. Give us some ideas for what unscripted things you'd want to do or stuff like that. So we're starting to kind of send out our ideas to people are asking for our ideas, and that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. So that actually kind of goes along with one of my questions. It's like a 3-part one though. Okay. What's your favorite musical?
Okay.
Which character would you love to play, either like a type of character or like a musical role or even a traditional theater role?
Sure.
And I personally think that you would be great in Rent, but I can't decide if you would be Mark or Roger, because I think that you could totally rock Roger's pants, but I feel like typecast wise, you'd be more of a Mark.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean that like in any wrong way.
No.
Like, no, he could totally pull off the plaid pants with the chain.
No, it's funny. And I sang the Roger songs at this benefit years ago in New Hampshire. Sandy Duncan and her husband came up to do like this concert, and they wanted a local kid. And so I went on and I sang the Rent songs in like a cut off flannel shirt. It was something. I mean, it was the 90s, so like it makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, I'd certainly play Mark, and I know Anthony rap, and it would be fun to step into that role. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I'm getting a little long in the tooth for it now, maybe. Although
Neil Patrick Harris played it older.
That's true.
Like,
on stage doesn't matter. Yeah. My favorite musical. That's funny. I think my go-to is always The Fantastics, and I just played it for my kids yesterday, and it was fun to just hear it again. It's such a simple, just kind of perfect little musical. So I'd say that's my favorite. I did play Matt when I was younger, but in terms of, I feel bad. I haven't seen, like right now, if I could play any role right now, might be King George in Hamilton. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
But in terms of dream, I mean, that's a little, bit part, but yeah, that's a good question. In terms of I've always, as a kid, one of the first musicals I ever saw was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So it's kind of always been in my head to play Joseph one day.
Okay.
I don't love that musical anymore, but it would be fun.
Yeah,
it'd be fun to do the Scarlet Pimpernel. I'm just thinking
Cosmo from Singing in the Rain.
I'm not as good of a dancer as I need to be for that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I would love to love to do that, but I'm not. I can't dance.
You can't run up a wall and flip.
I would certainly kill myself.
Well, so when are you guys coming back to Pittsburgh? Because I saw that you just released more dates.
Yeah. We were there, I think, in May or April?
Yes.
Something.
It's only been a couple months.
Yeah. So I would imagine sometime in 2020, maybe I'm going to try to convince Steve that we should tour in the Northeast in the summer months versus Texas and Arizona in the summer months. So I would venture to say maybe late summer, fall next year, potentially. Okay. Yeah. We did Florida last January, and that went really well. So we're planning on doing that again. And, we're very lucky. Clubs are pretty happy to have us now. So we can kind of pick an area, and as long as we can route it, and that's one of the challenges. I know a lot of people say, oh, there's a theater in my town. Can you guys come to, play the town hall? And we're like, we can't, sorry. It's we can't get everywhere, and we try to pick. And one of the challenges is, I'm from New Hampshire, and it would be great to play New Hampshire, but if we're going to come to that area, it makes the most sense for us to play Boston, right? Like it makes sense for us to play the most central place with the largest population, so that you're going to get more people being able to come. So that's those are the decisions that usually it's not necessarily us making, but because we have to be invited. We don't, we will send out our availability sometimes, but most often it's clubs saying, hey, we'd like you to play here, and so then we try to line up those invitations versus being like, hey, we're coming. Like it's a balancing act, and we'd love to be able to go everywhere and play small towns and do all that, but we're doing our best.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because we live probably a half hour away from where you were, so I mean it's quick, but you're right, you have to do a more central. And I love that they do the small intimate venues versus the big. I mean, it's great if you sell us out and everything, but I hope that you don't ever have to go into the big, like the Heinz Hall or anything, because
oh gosh, no. Well, I don't think we'll ever be an arena act. I can't imagine. So for us, anywhere between 250 and 400 is a good size for us, because it's our audiences know us so intimately, and in a lot of ways vice versa. A lot of the faces that we see in these rooms we've seen before, and we don't want it to be faceless. And we want it to feel like a family reunion, and that's what's so cool about our shows and everything we do, is that he and I enjoy each other's company. We enjoy our listeners' company, our audience go. And the cool thing about it is that there's 400 people that don't know each other walking in the room, but what they maybe don't think about is that they have something very huge in common. And in this day and age, a lot of people think about what they don't have in common versus what they do. And I don't know, there's something really special about a room full of people that are getting excited and smiling and being joyful and being connected to each other, and they're connected in this joy and in this love for this show. And that is really special. And, in a fairly negative world, it's a pretty positive experience.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how our friendship even started, because you were a Girl Scout leader. Yep. I joined the troop with my daughter. I was recently married, former single mom. she was starting to be a single mom. And then you were on a dating app or something?
I was
Somehow we wound up saying General Hospital, and she's like, oh, good, you watched General Hospital, that's great. And then it kind of was just like touch and go from there, but then
Yes, I was on a dating app, and one of my matches came up, and they looked exactly like you. And so it was like,
oh my gosh, that's funny.
In the morning, and I'm texting her, doesn't this guy look just like Spinelli? Oh my God. And that was kind of, it went from there.
And then I was like, he does. Can you believe blah, blah, blah. And then it just,
that's funny.
No, and
didn't work out with the guy.
No, he didn't like kids. I have 4 kids, and he was not into kids, so kind of a deal breaker.
Just a little bit.
I would say so. Yeah. And I mean, do you really want to be with a guy that looks like Spinelli? Come on.
Of course I do.
No, but I mean, it was really, but I mean, even standing in line at the show and everything, we're talking to all the people around us, and
it's pretty, it's unique. It is, there's nothing like it. And it's pretty special. Yeah.
I'm sure that you always get asked like when you're coming back to the show and everything.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, Curtis mentioned to Jordan that they have something called the Port Charles Players, because when I know you guys don't watch the show.
No.
Right. Okay. So here's a little fill in for you. Jordan was in the hospital. She had a kidney transplant.
Who was? Oh, Jordan.
Jordan.
Okay, yeah.
And they're all, oh, how are we going to pay for this? And Curtis is like, well, instead of going to Broadway to see a show, we can just go see the Port Charles Players. And I was right. It's not even a thing.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
I was like, we never had, that was the first time it was said. And I was like, oh, wouldn't that be great for Spinelli to come back into town and be the leader of this?
God, that's so funny. Like, so I don't know what I'm coming back for, right? But I was, our podcast tomorrow, I'm not sure when you guys are hearing this, is Kathleen Gotti. And
I love her.
Yeah, so she'll be on our show, that'll come out tonight or tomorrow morning. And she's got dates around the same time I do. And she happens to be one of the other people in the cast that can sing. So maybe it is. Maybe it's the first gathering of the Port Charles Players, and
well, you should put that little ear, like a bug in their writer's ear, and be like,
"That's funny."
Well, I also have another suggestion. So, baby James did not even get a first birthday party.
Oh, this is Maxie's other kid, right?
Yeah, they totally blew by it, and I was like, Spinelli should send him a gift.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I guess they're just on to Nathan. So, or no, I mean onto Peter. So they're not worried about Nathan.
Peter delivered James. So you think that it would have been, and now Maxie and him are together. So you think that they would have been like, hey, this is a great thing. And they just totally blew over it.
That's funny. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
That's missed opportunity.
I'm not like that obsessed, but
he's like, I can't explain that.
Yeah.
But it does make sense that Georgie would have sent her younger brother a present.
Right.
So, Spinelli should have been involved in that.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if that's Ellie's responsibility to send the thank you cards.
Maybe. Then now we have to, now it's Ellie's fault. No, but you guys were really cute together. We do miss you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Now that Steve's back, it's super fun to be back there. Not that it wasn't fun when he was out there, without him there, but I think there's just more room to play now that he is. So I'm in the building a lot because I go down to record, and we do a lot of our work out of his dressing room, frankly. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the building a lot. I'm just not always there to work on the show. So they may get tired of seeing me like, what the hell is he doing here again? But I do have some work days coming up. So I'll have my own dressing room that day. I don't have to just hang out in Steve's.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So who is your favorite? Who on the set is the most like their character, and who is absolutely nowhere near their character?
That's interesting. I'm not sure. I'm not sure it started out this way, but I'd say, well, and he talks about it. Maurice loves his character.
Okay.
And there is, I think after playing him for so long and loving him for so long, I think he doesn't mind the overlap between Sonny and Maurice. I think he loves his character. So, and there's elements of Maurice that have gone into Sonny, and I think he just owns it. And so, I would say in that regard, he's the most organically, and we'll talk about it in a way that is not like egotistical or anything like that. It's like, I know there's just a cool connect between the actor and the character. Not to say that
probably not a mobster.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But no, barring his bipolar into it. And I think that's been, we're both very big mental health advocates. My daughter's autistic, and it's amazing what he's done with it. And having the character be a vehicle for some of the things he wants to talk about so I think there's a connection there I'm not
I think I took your question in a different direction, but when I think of people that are connected to their character in that way, I think of him. People that are just like their characters, I think of people that haven't done as much work on that are just worried about remembering the lines and don't bring a character into it. But I won't name those people.
Right. I always try to figure out when you guys talk about certain things on your podcast, and I'm like, all right, who just got written off with nothing? Who just... Yeah. It's a fun game to play.
Yeah.
But we can't figure it out. So
yeah. Good. I'm glad we're leaving you guys with some questions. That's good.
You are. You absolutely are, because I think that you take a very neutral stance to it, and it's not...
Well, we're not there to... We always say that to our guests. We're not journalists getting gotcha questions. That's not... We're not trying to... We're trying to have fun. I mean, number one, we're trying to have fun ourselves. Like, we wouldn't do any of this if we didn't enjoy it. So, we're trying to have fun, and we're bringing our guests on to have fun, and to maybe share stories that they've never had the opportunity to share. We do interviews all the time, but you don't have the long form ability to really get into anything. You end up, ends up being either recorded and then written up in a magazine. So they're kind of compressing it and contextualizing it, and, or you're doing a TV or radio interview, which are sound bites. And so, this way of talking, a lot of people aren't used to. And so we hope that we can make them comfortable and just have fun, because that's ultimately what our listeners are tuning in for. It's things, interesting tidbits about people that they know a little bit but want to know more. And that's exactly, we want to get to know our fellow friends and actors more too. It's people a lot of these people we've known for years. We've never sat down long enough to get into these conversations.
Yeah. Like you mentioned with Eden McCoy, like you guys have never even had a scene together.
Yeah.
And it's, we don't think that, we're like, oh yeah, they all hang out backstage together. You don't think about the fact that you don't.
Nope. No, there's a lot of people on the show, and if you're not in scenes with them, oftentimes you don't see them.
Yeah.
So,
do you happen to know what happens when General Hospital gets preempted and they cancel the day's show? How they make up for it? So, like last week, there was a preemption on Tuesday, so we only had 4 episodes.
Right.
How do they make that up?
They put it somewhere. They put it at night. They put it. I'm not sure if they put it on Hulu. I'm not sure.
They didn't. There was only 4 on Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's a gap in story. But the thing is, they can't push back.
Exactly.
Like, there's no, because they have, their schedule is, cliffhanger Fridays. Like right. They're not going to air a thing that was geared for Thursday and air it on a Friday instead. They're just not.
But they did, because Amanda watched yesterday. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that was Fridays.
I feel like,
and I haven't watched it yet. Yeah. So
that's great. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I don't know. That's
they edited it to kind of, maybe take out
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough, because you're right. There's so many preemptions these days. So
well, we said, like, they shouldn't be doing them, because if you're actually interested in that stuff, you can get on Facebook, you can go on C-SPAN, you can
you're right. They can do a chyron at the bottom, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally. And just be like, go to our website or but emergency national. But the thing is, that's the thing, is that they don't want to, if all of a sudden they see on Facebook that there's something going on, they're going to change the channel. And ABC doesn't want them to change the channel. ABC wants them to stay with them.
That's
true. Yeah. So that's what it is. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
The dollar.
This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
Very much. This was a lot of fun.
Congratulations on your venture. Well done. And it's a real pleasure talking to you guys.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Good luck with the rest of it. All right.
All right. Have a great night.
Bye.
All right, so we did not want to give too much away, which was really, really, really hard to do.
Because we're a little excited, in case you can't tell.
Yeah, but we definitely wanted to share our conversation with you. And Amanda, what was your favorite part?
I loved all of it, but the favorite part, just hearing how passionate he is about everyone that watches the show, and understanding, like, actors get where they are because of the little people that watch them on whatever they're on. And so when he was talking about doing the shows with Steve, it was all about, like, making that connection and entertaining the viewer that was in the audience, and really presenting them with, like, something to go and see, instead of just sitting there and saying hi and, like, signing autographs. And I think that's awesome that he really seems to appreciate, like, his fame is from all of us.
Right. Yeah. No, so. I mean, they definitely are very fan oriented.
Right. I think that's why we love them so much. Like, I think you knew that before without him saying it, but hearing him talk about it.
But even when I said, we hope that you guys don't get so big that you feel the need to move into the bigger halls, because it would take away that intimate
And he was like, no.
He was like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah. And I was like, thank you. Cool. So, I mean, if needed, maybe they would do 2 nights instead of going into a bigger venue. I mean, let's hope that they have that problem.
Then we would have to go 2 nights. That's very
We would just have to. Not really, because we would only have to do VIP once, probably.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. But, I mean, he took his time with us.
He did. Yeah, he definitely gave us more time than we didn't expect anything, but he was just so down to earth and open and honest. What was your favoriteest part?
He was wearing a Boston cap.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Other than that,
yeah, Shannon tells me I don't talk enough, but then she opens with this whole, I know everything about Boston. I've never been there. I can't get
so we'll just go. So we'll go. I know that they're playing Boston, so maybe we'll just go follow them. We'll become their groupies.
Okay.
That is crossing over into crazy.
Maybe just a little. But
although I do have family up there that would enjoy also going. See? So we can
just plan our family trips around wherever they're going.
No, it's a girl trip. What are you talking about, family trip? It's just you and me.
I meant seeing family. Like visiting
family. Yes.
See?
I'm like, I'm not taking my kids.
No, I'm not taking my kids.
All right.
Although Megan was upset that she could not be here for this Spinelli interview.
Oh.
And she was super excited as I left today. She was like, have fun. Make sure you say all this stuff to him. I'm like, no, we're on limited time. So she can't wait to hear that.
Was there anything that you did not say that she wanted?
No, she just wanted to be here. But I know then she would have wanted to say something. And that, Megan, she could talk for days. So that would have been not okay.
Sweet.
But yeah, it was really cute that she was
She's excited. The president of our fan club.
Yes, so. Exactly.
Yes. But no, I mean, it was just pretty much everything that you said, just how fan focused they are, how receptive to our questions, that he didn't get too scared when we filled him on what's happening on the show.
Right.
Because that was a little awkward, but I'm like, no, here's how you can get some screen time.
Yeah.
Send James a present because the kid didn't have a birthday.
I like that his response was the same as ours with the Port Charles players. He was like, I've never heard of that before. Yeah, no, neither had we, except for that one episode.
But it could be an in. And could you imagine?
That would be awesome.
Like Spinelli and Liesel doing
oh my God,
a show.
Oh, and then Emma could come back and be part of it too.
Yes. And Jason Thompson. So Patrick would be coming back.
Yes.
Yep. All these people can come back and be Port Charles players.
We have it all set. The writers just need to take it and run.
Well, yeah. One of the head writers retired today.
Yes, I saw that. Mm-hmm. So if they need someone to replace her, just call us up.
If they need continuity experts, we gotcha. If they bring someone new in that he's caught up to speed, just, go back and listen to the first couple episodes. We did a full General Hospital recap.
Exactly.
Well, it wasn't a full, but, highlights.
Close enough.
High level. But... yeah, so I think it went really well.
I think so too. It was
awesome. A lot of fun.
It was just so awesome.
So generous, so thankful,
that was amazing. I mean, he's like sitting at home or wherever and has a conversation with us. Like, who does that? I'm so happy. That was crazy.
It was fun. So I don't know.
I guess have a good weekend.
We'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.